Two Rivers Talks is brought to you by Two Rivers Biz Starts. Also by Two Rivers Main Street. And by Raleigh Point Economic Advising. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Two Rivers Talks with Darla and Todd. I would be the Todd part of that equation, and this is my friend...
Darla.
Darla. Hi, Darla. How are you doing?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm doing just great. Living the dream.
Aren't we all?
So if you are from Two Rivers, used to be from Two Rivers, or you want to be from Two Rivers, and let's face it, who wouldn't want to be, you will find news, fun, music, art, and more. And we have a jam-packed episode coming up here. Lots of fun stuff coming up. We are going to be speaking with Stephanie Carpenter, the program officer, and Jim Moran, the master printer and collections officer at the Hamilton Woodtype and Print Museum, about this year's virtual Wayzgoose event, which has been named a Waysgoose. And if you don't know what a Waysgoose is, we're going to delve into that in this episode. So you're going to learn a little bit of history, and you're going to like it.
And there's a quiz tomorrow.
Right, exactly. Plus, we're going to do a How's It Hanging, aren't we, Darla?
Yes, we are. And at this point in time, I'm not sure what I'm going to present, but it's going to be a big surprise for us all.
Well, that'll be great. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to talking to Jim and Stephanie. As always, they've been on the show a couple of times, so we've got some past shows where we've actually been on site at the Hamilton Museum. So we'll probably link to those at the end of the video here as well. So if somebody wants to really get their Hamilton on, they can definitely do that. So. But I guess that brings us to my favorite part of the show.
No. It's my favorite part of the show.
It's your favorite because you get to torment me with it.
Exactly. You know me so well. So, Todd, I would love for you to take it away with word of the day.
I would be delighted to, Darla. The word of the day today is dawdle. That is DODDLE. And the meaning of dawdle is something easily done, or fixed, or handled. So used in a sentence, it would be, he was really worried about my finishing the fence repairs on my own, but it was a dawdle. And that one didn't stump me because I think I shared with you before the show, this is kind of a British slang term. Okay. And I've heard it in some shows. I couldn't tell you exactly which one I've heard it in, but I've done that one before, but I don't know. I think your batting average, you've gotten me maybe about 50-50 where I recognize
that much?
The words. Well, I'm being generous.
Maybe about 20. I would say 20%.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know. We should have to do like a batting average or something on that. So
I'm just going to go back and see where you've been stumped, and I'm going to start a tally. Because that is kind of like my goal in life, is just to stump you. Because that means so much to me.
Challenge accepted.
Okay. All right. So we will be back with you in just a second with Jim and Stephanie. And that will be our interview will be followed by How's It Hanging? So please stay tuned. Stop it.
Hello, everybody. We're back with some amazing guests from the Hamilton Woodtype and Print Museum. Darla and I are really pleased to welcome Jim Moran and Stephanie Carpenter from the Woodtype. And we've got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about today, things going on at the Hamilton. I guess maybe the first thing we want to start off is, because of coronavirus, we aren't able to have the Waysgoose in maybe the traditional way that it has been in the past. And for those people that maybe don't know what the Waysgoose is, it'd be great to hear from you guys. What is the Waysgoose? What's it got to do with Hamilton? What's with the funny name? And then what are you doing as a take on that this year?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what a Waysgoose is at Hamilton. I'll let Jim go into the history of what they were and where they came from. But for us, a Waysgoose is a conference that we have every year. And it is when we get to have individuals from all around the world visit and talk about letterpress printing, typography, and graphic design. It's normally a 3 or 4 day event, and it's always the first or second weekend in November. And everybody gets together. We have amazing speakers, we have workshops, we have hands-on printing, and everybody goes away making new friends and learning new things, which is exciting. It's a gathering of printers, right, Jim?
Yeah, it began in England, as a lot of American printing traditions have. And it's basically a printer's party, but it initially centered around this time of year, which was in essence the time of working by candlelight. So you would pulp over all the windows, against the onslaught of winter, and then the apprentice would typically create a dinner for all of the other printers, and the primary dish served was a goose. So the way of the goose is sort of what you're getting there. And in more modern terms, it's simply known as a printer's picnic or gathering. And it seemed pretty appropriate to us. And now we're at our 12th one.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't have been like way out of the experience of like Benjamin Franklin if you had talked about having a Waysgoose.
Right. No, they probably had their own, I'm sure.
Very neat. Very neat.
And I was curious, when you first started having Waysgooses,
Waysgeese? Yeah, Waysgeese.
what was your attendance and what was it up to last year when you had an in-person Waysgoose?
The first year, I would guess that we had maybe 75 people or something like that. And it was a bit impromptu because that April, I was hired, my brother Bill was hired. And because he had done conferences, he said, "Oh, we can run a conference this year," which scared the hell out of me, quite honestly. And it was sort of a big party, but we had good speakers, and we had workshops, and we had plumbing failures. I mean, all kinds of interesting things happened that year, but it was pretty informal. I think then, if you move forward, it's gradually gotten bigger and bigger. And I'd say about 250, Steph, is that right?
Yep.
Is where we have peaked at. And there's two interesting things about it, which is, well, the easy one is that the building can't really fit a lot more than that. But the other one is that the attendees have asked us not to make it too large, because what they like about this compared to other conferences is that you are all in the building for the weekend, so there's a much better chance to get to know each other. And as a result, it has more of a feeling of a reunion to some extent for a lot of these people, but there's an informality that they really like. We all know what it's like to go to a conference by yourself and not really get to know anybody there. And we like to think that this is a lot more camaraderie than that sort of feeling. So it's nice for us because we get to see all of our friends and meet a bunch of new ones. And so it's become a well-oiled machine. Steph came onto the museum 2 years after I did, and her sense of organization began creating systems for the many things we did. And that's been so nice because we have a better idea of what we're doing. I guess I can put it that way.
You needed Stephanie.
Yes, that's right.
So many Excel docs. I mean, really.
Oh, I can imagine.
Right.
Your spreadsheet queen, right?
Yes.
Well, I love a good spreadsheet as much as the next guy, but
Yeah, the behind the scenes, right?
But I had a chance to attend Waysgoose last year, at least for a short while, and I mean the energy at this conference was so neat. and so many people just intensely interesting and interested in the topic of printmaking and typography and interested kinds of topics. I mean, this is truly an international resource for in our community, and just so cool that you've got this neat little intimate conference that draws so many people from all over the place.
Yeah, and this year we're really lucky because we're partnering with the American Printing History Association. We've never had a partner for a Waysgoose before, and to have an organization like that is really good because it means we get more partners. We did a call for papers for the actual conference. Normally it's just invitational, so it kind of expanded what is possible. So even though we're going online, there's a silver lining that there's a lot more happening. And so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Now you're going to be virtual this year,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure has been a whole host of challenges, and but an opportunity for you both and your cohorts to really get creative and come up with some really good good ideas as to how to do this conference, even though it's remote, how to make it fun and exciting and just accessible to people who want to participate. And what are you calling it? It's not the Waysgoose this year. You have a different name for it. What is it?
It is a Waysgoose. So
That's really good. I like that.
Oh, Waysgoose. I love that. I just
now
love that.
we are incredibly fortunate that every year the woman who runs all of the technical things and keeps all of the screens in motion and everything else is helping us again this year. And so all of that information that we needed to know about how a presentation could be done and done without those failures that can happen during other platforms. We all know what it's like when somebody in a Zoom meeting moves too fast and talks, and suddenly you get one or the other, but not both. But in terms of organization, I think I'll just say that if you were wondering how much work you could pile on Steph, this would be a good example. So I will let her talk about what the arrangement has been like.
Yeah, so we do, and actually since March, we've been doing online Zoom calls with our friends from all around the world as little like mini, we call them Hamilton hangs, and allows us to see our friends. And so it's been really nice because they've been informal. And so it's like, well, what is it like to have a conversation with your friend every Friday? And we're like, well, how can we make sure that like camaraderie that we get at Waysgoose is mixed with these weekly events we've done to make the Waysgoose just a really nice way to learn and also see your friends and have an electronic beer.
Yeah. Well, I know for your Hamilton hangs that you get a lot of people.
We do, yeah. I was going to say we have over 50 people at almost every weekly event, which is great.
And they're from all over. It's not
Yes.
just local, it's
No.
International.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had guest hosts in Italy, and today we did one in Canada, all around the United States. So that's been really nice.
Wow.
I will say though, it's been really good because locally we have gotten people interested in seeing like what's happening. And even when we have the Waysgoose, we're trying to find that way to, have them feel like they're at Rudy's or they're at Kurtz's. And so that's one of the fun things is everyone is going to be missing Two Rivers this year. So how do we not just share Hamilton, but how do we share Two Rivers as well?
Right.
You and I had a conversation yesterday, and we went into that a little bit more. But I like your ideas of the virtual experience over at Rudy's bowling, whereas in the past when you've had the bowling during Waysgoose, you've been at Rui's. Well, now the entire sign is up. So
Right.
So yay for that. And but Jim, I interrupted you. Go ahead, please.
Oh no, that's all right. I was going to say with this crowd, you would need to um, give them a shot of Rudy's and send them a 6-pack of Spotted Cow and a pound of cheese just to get that real feeling of being
Right.
in Wisconsin. and well, we'll adapt, or they'll adapt. Steph and I can do what we want. We'll be covered.
It's going to be a free for all, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah, sort of, sort of. There's an interesting thing that we've been working on with the method of the event, and it has to do with having a platform that allows for a live streaming portion of it, which would be keynote speakers and presenters, etc. But to keep an informal part, Steph and I have had a number of conversations about evening times with the different crowds where you can be on a meeting such as this one, but you don't need to worry about whether or not you have something to drink in your hand, or whether, how you came to this party. And so those will be a lot less formal and probably more of a Zoom based approach to it. But it is an interesting balancing act, because we have all seen enough online presentations to know that some engage us and some become a little dry. And to some extent, you can't avoid the dryness, because I can't sit down next to you, and talk. It's got to be this distance. So we'll just overcome it as best we can.
And you don't have to wear pants if you're on Zoom.
That, yes,
Am I
yes.
right, Jim?
Yes, but see, I'm always at work when I'm on these, not at home. So, I mean, I could take them off in the sense that no one would know unless Steph came to ask me a question. So I imagine she and I will probably be dressed for almost all.
Ew.
Almost everything.
Right.
And if we see Stephanie run screaming from the room, we'll know what happened. So I'm so
Or
sorry.
me,
This is how rumors get started.
I know.
I think our family rating just went right out the window there.
or straight up. You never know. Right?
Could be.
Oh my
Could
gosh.
be.
So I have to ask you, this year for a Waysgoose, can you tell us some of the topics that you're going to cover and where some of the speakers are from?
Yeah, so one of the things that is exciting is we are going to do a mix of both speakers. So you'll have people talking about what they research and what they do. And then we're also going to have demos. So, like, Jim's going to be printing. We're going to do a tour of Hamilton. So if you've never visited, you can get that experience as well. So that is one of the exciting things, that we can show off kind of multiple different facets of a conference like this. But Jim, there's a nice mix. I mean, we have letterpress printers, we have type designers. So that's really exciting, is there's a wide gamut.
Yeah, and we've got a couple of really great keynote speakers, and the one that we had been trying to get for, I would say, at least 3 years now, is a woman named Paula Scher from New York. She owns a design firm called Pentagram Studios, and even if that does not sound familiar, when you begin to look at the work, you realize that she's got clients all over the place at a really great level, but she's quite influential in the world of design. So we feel incredibly fortunate to get someone like her to speak.
Well, she's lucky to be able to be a part of what you guys are putting on, because what you do is extremely special, and you're not going to find that everywhere. And we're just very happy that you're in the Two Rivers community, and you have your doors open typically, and hopefully they're open again soon, to people
Hmm.
in the community to come and learn more about, and it's the heritage, for the area,
Right.
and but so I wanted to know, how are you going to do the virtual after party portion of Waysgoose? Because I remember running into people, it wasn't last year but the year before, who were all attending the conference, and they were just so stoked and delighted about having been at Rudy's, how are you going to? I am really fascinated to know how you're going to do that virtually. Can you give us some hints without
Yeah,
giving too
so
much away?
no, there's no secrets. We're excited about it. So, um, we're gonna do Zoom events because we've been doing them so much at Hamilton that a lot of our individuals who are kind of friends of the museum know how that process works.
Okay.
And they can, so that's a big part of it. And the nice thing is you can like change your background. So we're gonna have in a digital goodie pack, registration pack, we're gonna have some backgrounds from around local Two Rivers establishments.
Oh,
Mhm.
So you can feel like you're there.
are you going to have a bowling cam?
Oh, we have to. How could we not?
I know that would be so cool. No, that's really awesome.
Well, and our friends are insisting. I mean, they want a berserker's camera as well. So, you know, they will not be content if they don't get that dosage of Two Rivers. So what a wonderful thing, right?
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely. That is so cool. And now also, you were talking about kind of expanding your relationship with the community by offering scholarships. So if you'd like to tell us more about that, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, so we have done an academic scholarship the last couple of years because we know when you're in school, it's hard to be able to afford all the things you want to do. And so normally we cover the conference fee. So that's what we're also doing that. We're doing education scholarships. Those deadlines are actually due September 15th, but if you're in college, you can get your application there. But we have two new scholarships we've never done before. So one is a financial assistance scholarship. So if you are having trouble paying for things right now and you need some help, but you really want to attend, you can apply for that one. And also a community scholarship, which means if you live in Manitowoc County, you can apply. And I think we're going to at least have 5 of those. We're going to see if we can up that number, but we're at 5. And both those last two, the financial assistance and the community scholarships, they're both due October 1st. There's a really easy form to fill out on woodtype.org. And so you can go over there and fill that up. Oh, look, a direct link from Todd. That's great.
Todd's the man.
He
He's
is.
awesome.
Yes, you can go to that page and find the information.
So what does the scholarship cover exactly?
Yep. The scholarship's going to cover your admittance to the conference. So that means you can come, you can see, and there's 4 days. It's November 5th through the 8th. And so it'll cover all those speakers that are going to be joining us, as well as those happy hours. You don't have to tell your school about the happy hours, but we know that at conferences you learn just as much from the off time as you do from the presentations,
Hmm.
because networking is so important. But yeah, it'll just cover your whole fee, so you don't have to pay anything to participate in all those events.
Have you
Although
reached
if you
out to
go
the
to
local schools about that and they're all aware of that? They are.
Yeah,
Okay. So they're getting the
yeah,
word out.
yeah.
Okay. And obviously we're going to help get the word out too.
Thank you.
Um, is there anybody in particular that you still need to contact so that the information is out there to more people, or you have that pretty well covered?
Well, no, this is a big part of it. And what I would say is, I really want people locally that maybe are like intrigued by Hamilton, or they kind of like design, or they want to know more. It's a perfect way to interact. If you're like, I'm intrigued by what you're doing at Hamilton, apply for the scholarship, because then you really get to see who it is who's engaging with Two Rivers, who it is who's looking and learning and teaching through Hamilton. So that's who I would recommend if you're intrigued and you want to know more, or you love graphic design. All good reasons to apply for the scholarships.
Great.
Yeah.
And if I've never been to the Waysgoose event before or anything like that, and do I have to be a specialist or kind of deep into graphic design to be able to get benefit from the, like, is it the right event for me to attend?
Yeah, and I go for it, Jim. I think it's a good one because I think it's open to more than just intense graphic designers.
Right. But what is nice about it is that you find people like that who are, maybe some of the top in their particular world, but then you have students who have maybe taken their first class in their first year at UW Stevens Point or La Crosse or, something like that, LTC. So what is very nice about it is it's a very broad range, and from an age standpoint, I think it also is fairly broad as well. You got our friend Carl Monford from Seattle who comes out, who is early 80s now. And then, of course, like I said, college freshmen where they are 18 or 19. And, you've got kind of a median because you're attracting graphic designers, but that's a pretty broad audience too. And I think that what is even more advantageous, if you haven't done it before, is that we try to broaden it from not just letterpress, but we have folks who are wood engravers, or they are paper marblers, or they're calligraphers, or they are historians. And so that, I think, begins to draw in a broader audience where you might find that it is something that you have an interest in, even though that's not your profession. I think we, both Steph and I, have certainly met a number of folks here who are not involved in the profession at all. As a matter of fact, one of them was a collections manager, and that means that he goes to museums and helps organize their collection. Well, we contract with him, for the last 3 years to help us out, but it's still an example of somebody who just tagged along with someone else and found out that they really loved it.
Well, I know, like, I've attended 2 of your Ink and Drink events, and, in just a very short period of time, I learned quite a bit and really got my feet wet because before that, I had not a clue how printing worked. I had an idea, but, just the thought that goes into it, setting up your type, actually printing. Well, you guys probably remember that I had, like, a minor panic attack the first time I was at Ink and Drink. I had all my type set, and it was time to and I had it all inked, but I had to leave the room for a while before I actually did the pressing because I don't know, I was afraid of messing up, and, but you talked me down off the ledge, and I appreciate that, and it turned out pretty good, I thought. But, one thing that I've learned is that it is such an art form unto itself, and so many it's multifaceted, like what you were saying, it draws in different disciplines. And Stephanie, you have some of your artwork that is monoprint over at the gallery, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's not just about uh letterpress for like newspapers. It is an art, and some of the things that you have for sale there um, are just gorgeous pieces done in a
Yeah.
particular way. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, and I would like to learn more.
It's interesting because, right, letterpress printing comes from a commercial history. It was how we printed newspapers and books and posters. And now it's finding its way as an art form as well as a commercial industry. In fact, it's up on the walls right now, even though we are closed. It's called New Impressions. It's an exhibition we do every year. It's a juried exhibition, but we have it online. Like, you can see this work from around the world, this letterpress fine art work. Um, and so those people attend Waysgoose. It's this really wonderful community, and the really important thing is to know that lots more people can be introduced to this community. Like, one of our volunteers is named Larry, and he was a science teacher, and he does graphic design on the computer, but then he started to volunteer at Hamilton, and he makes these lovely pieces with letterpress printing. And it was this expansion and extension of what he's intrigued by. And so that's one of the things I like, is it is open. You don't have to have a long history with it. We can help introduce you to things that maybe you've never tried before but are intrigued by.
I had a fabulous time last year, and I'm a non-specialist too, but it's just so great to go in and you'd be exposed to new ideas and different disciplines of people that I don't regularly get to interact with. So I'm very much looking forward to this year's as well. If somebody wants to sign up for the event, again, they just go to woodtype.org, and the registration is right there. Very simple, very easy. All right. I guess before we close, any further thoughts from you guys, or anything else that you guys wanted to add?
Well, we cannot tell you the day we will reopen. We're hoping we're getting closer to that date, though. And if people are unable to attend the Waysgoose, we will probably be open again, and you can always stop in and visit that way. One of the nice things too is that when you go to the website, you can look at what we have done here, and I mean that from an exhibition standpoint, but even pictures from the Waysgoose of years before, so that it's a really nice way to maybe get a sense of what the place is like, whether you walk in the door or do it on your computer. So you can still get a little bit of a glimpse of what we're about.
Yeah, we have Facebook, Instagram. We're sharing all the time on those places. And we do have a monthly e-newsletter. And it's a really nice way to like quickly see what we're up to. And you can sign up on our website too. So yeah, that's a good point, that there's still lots happening, even though we can't see people directly yet.
Mhm.
I am a happy subscriber to your newsletter and avidly follow what you guys do online. So
Thank you.
excellent.
Thank you, you guys.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Jim Moran, Stephanie Carpenter with the Hamilton Woodtype and Print Museum. A Waysgoose, everyone.
All right.
Thanks
All right.
for joining us.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Thanks. So long.
Well, I worked all summer, couldn't save a cent. I gave all of my money to the government. I don't know quite how I got spent, but the banks are coming for my deed, boys. Man at the mill can't see, boys. Let me get my feet for free, boys. Ain't that the way it is?
So Woodtype is pretty special because it has character, and why it has character is because over the years it's been dropped or nicked or hurt, and you don't fix that. That stays with it. People like that history.
Free, boys. That gasoline ain't free, boys. It's push went on my knee, boys. Ain't that the way it is?
What makes Hamilton unique is we are a place that's keeping a legacy of early 20th century design alive, but we've got a lot of excited people under the age of 30, under the age of 20 coming here and wanting to use this stuff again for the first time.
Well, I met me a woman down in St. Paul. I even met a mother and I met a Paul. My brother told me to bust my jaw if I talked to your sister again, boy. Told me I couldn't win, boy. There's blood running down my chin now. Ain't that the way it is?
I feel like I've got about 5,000 new friends since I started working at this place. These people are in it because they love it, and that makes a huge difference.
But I want some more now. The barman's got my car, boy. Task was more by far, boys. I'll leave her down at the bar now. Ain't that the way it is?
I think that just on a professional sort of research level, Hamilton is a treasure trove. It is the largest collection of woodtype and printing material in North America and very possibly on the planet. This is the primary source of primary information.
He's been right on the way back home. I got me a job on a family farm. Times are hard here, but I can't roam. I ain't got nothing more, boys. I owe that company store, boys. Road's looking good for sure, boys. Ain't that the way it is?
People do this stuff because they love it, not because they get paid for it.
Well, I worked all summer, couldn't save a cent. I gave all of my money to
The word that I would say best sums up what the museum offers to its visitors is collaboration.
Communication.
Welcoming,
Dynamic.
passion,
Freundschaft.
Relationships.
Community. Respect. Camaraderie.
Excelsior.
Inspiring, because even though us gentlemen and ladies of little long of tooth think we know it all, we can still learn something new. And I've learned a few things new here this time even. I forgot what they were, but I'm sure I'll remember.